today's tutorial is to paint this beautiful pink flower with the bee on it. Actually, I think there's a honeybee, and I think there's a smaller bee of some kind there. I just now realized that, but I didn't notice that when I was doing the outline. So we're going to do one bee on here. Love the color. Oh my gosh, this will be so much fun. And this is a no-tan, so that's just simply the photograph converted to values. You've got your dark, your midtones, and your light, which is white. It's really good to reference a no-tan value study so that you can look at your painting and see, well, I need the darkest darks around here. The bee obviously surrounding each petal. That's where my darks need to be. So let's get started. I've got my bee roughly drawn out here. I'm not sure if it's anatomically correct, but that's okay. The colors are going to be so pretty. So what I'm going to do is mix up some sap green for the background. It's going to be a very loose background. When you look at the photograph, it's all blurry, so we're trying to make a blurry background. Lots of sap green. I think I'll do some Quin Gold. Some Payne's Gray on this part of the green, kind of mix a little bit in there for the darks. Payne's Gray added to any green or added to yellow makes just a gorgeous green. So let's see, do I have enough mixed up? Probably not. Let's put a little Payne's Gray in there. Ooh, that's a lot of Payne's Gray in there. Ooh, that's pretty color. Make a separate little puddle. I'm going to use a lot of the sap, I believe. Okay, so what we're going to do is wet the background with clean water. You could use masking fluid to outline the flowers so that you don't get into any of the petals. But I'm just going to do this. If I go into it, then it just makes a smaller petal. And you can shift your, tilt your paper different ways to see if you have covered all the area. If you see a spot that looks dry, it is dry. If it's shiny, it's wet. I've got some big puddles going on here. I'm just using a size, I think this is a size 6 or 8 round brush. This is a cheap brush. I've been using it for a long time, and it works really well. I like to use cheaper brushes to do my paint mixing because I'm scrubbing and rolling around, and I just don't want to mess up my nice brushes mixing paint. My water isn't super clean because I mixed up my paint, but that's okay. The background is going to be green. This is already starting to dry a little, so I need to add a little more water here and there. Just a couple of drops here, just to keep it going, keep it wet. You could also wet the back of the paper. Also, wet the back and then this area up front, and that will keep the paper wet a long time. You'll have a lot of time to fiddle with it. Let's put some more over here. Keep everything wet. Okay, let's see what we've got here. We've got some puddles, just going to the edge here and then lifting it up with my damp brush. Let's see, I think we're good. I see shiny everywhere. Okay, let's start dropping in. Letting it move. Let's get some of this Quinn Gold in here. I'm going to get some of this real pretty dark, which was the Quinn Gold and Payne's Gray. Kind of going up to the line here. You can let gravity help you. Let them blend. I want some more Quinn Gold because it's just so pretty. You can see how masking the edge of the flower would be very helpful. Chris Kowalski has a lot of tutorials on Skillshare and on asperaart.com, and he does that quite often, masking the edge of something so he can get a really soft, perfect background. I did a couple of his tutorials. Actually, I've done several. And oh my gosh, they're just amazing. Highly recommend him. Lots of good tips and tricks and techniques. Again, I'm going to shift this around. Let these blend. Let's see. I'm going to hold it up here vertically. Let some of the paint pool at the bottom so I can lift it out with the damp brush. Now I'm going to do it this way. Hold it the other way. Oh, this is really cool. It looks like I've got flowers over here. I'm not going to fiddle with that. I'm going to leave it as is. Okay, let's let the water, the paint go where it wants to go. It's going to go downhill. Go this way again. Got a sheen here. I think I could use a little more in here, in between these two petals. Kind of cleaning up my edges. Oh, that's really pretty. Now you could splatter some water on here and it would push the paint away and make some kind of the bokeh effect, a little more variation. I think I'm going to splatter a little Quinn Gold. Oh yeah. That's so pretty. Oops, I got some inside the flower. Let's get a paper towel, lift it up best I can. I'm just gonna do a couple of dots here. Oh yeah, I love the Quinn Gold splattered around. I think I'm gonna drop in some of this darker green. Put some in the middle of that, make it look like the center of a flower. While it's still shiny, you can fiddle with it. It's getting a little matte looking right over here, so that really looks like a flower there. Let me see if I can do a little right here, like another flower. Okay, I'm going to step away and just let this dry. Okay, it's dry. Of course, watercolor always dries a lot lighter than it is when it's wet. And I want more of a contrast. When you look at the photograph, this is really dark. This is not. So I've mixed up some more green mixed with some sap green and Payne's gray. And I'm not going to do wet on wet. I'm just going to go over my background. Watercolor is transparent, so you're still going to be able to see the variations, the stuff underneath here. See, you can still see that flower kind of coming out. So you'll still see the layers underneath. I love that. I might add some more Quinn Gold down there while it's still wet. But I wanted more contrast against that pink. I'm just turning it every which way to make it easier to paint. See, you can still see those colors coming through. Okay, while it's still wet over here, I'm going to drop in some of that Quinn Gold. It'd be easier to move this around and paint if I had it taped on a piece of board of some kind, cardboard or clipboard or something. But I did not do that. Well, I like how that looks there. Oh, it's such a deep color now. I like this. Oh yeah, I like the dark. Okay, let's see about adding some more. Dropping in a little bit of Quin Gold here and there. It's still, when you see it looking kind of matte over here, it's not completely shiny. I'm not going to add anything there. Just where I see it very shiny. That corner, oh yeah, that looks good. Okay. Let this dry. Okay, the background is all dry. So much better now that it's darker. It's very similar to that, actually. That's pretty good. So now I'm going to do the first layer of the flower, the petals. So I've got a very watery, very light shade of permanent rose mixed up here. And I'm just going to paint each petal. Oh, that's so pretty. It's going to dry a little lighter. I'm going to paint over the wing because the wing is transparent-ish. Okay, we've got our first petal layer, the base layer. It's still pretty. It's getting there. Let this completely dry. Okay, it's dry. So now what I'm going to do is, looking at this NOTAN, which is a value study of the photograph, I'm going to paint everywhere on the petal where I see this mid-tone and the dark. So I'm just going to layer it right on top of the little light wash there. So I'm just going to just sort of follow this like a map. I'm using the same permanent rose. I didn't trace an outline on here. I just am going to kind of follow it as best I can. I'm going to turn this as I turn my painting. That'll help me follow my map here. I'm using a tiny brush here. I think I've got a cat hair on here. Cucumbers everywhere. So yeah, this is like a size, probably a 2. It's really old and the lacquer has come off of it, so I can't tell what size it is. Just use any brush that has a good point to it. See, the values have already started to help here. Again, I'm going to go over where the bee's wing is. Probably did a little bit too much here. See if I can dab a little bit up. I'm just layering for the different values. See how just that one layer of this mid-tone value really makes a huge difference. It's really going to start to pop when I add the darkest values. So while that's drying, I'm going to work on doing the stem. I'm going to use sap green, mix it with a little bit of this yellow that I used in the background, the Quin Gold. I'm just going to simply paint the stem. I'm going to add a little darker here at the top because it's in the shadow of that petal right there. Mixing my sap with a little bit of the Payne's Gray. There we go, that's the dark I wanted. Now for the center, I'm going to use, what am I going to use? I'm going to use some lemon yellow, Hansa yellow, I think it is. Nope, not going to do it. It's too yellowy. I'm going to use the Quin Gold. Yeah, that's better. Just paint over the center. I'm also going to make the little stripes on the bee. It's coming together. Okay, let this dry. Okay, it's dry. Now I've mixed up some more intense permanent rose. It's a lot darker than what we have down there. I might need to do 2 layers of this. I'm going to see if I can do it in just one, because I do need a dark value there. So now I'm just going to come along, and where you see this black on the petals here, I'm going to use this pretty concentrated permanent rose. And I've got a damp brush here. I'm just going to smooth these edges out a little. Kind of come up and make some of those flower lines in the veins of the petals. I don't know what it's called. Okay, now coming along this side. Damp brush. Let's just smooth. Take some of it with that damp brush and go up the center of the flower. Brush. Let's just smooth that edge and then come up a little bit, bring some of that value. Smooth the edge, take some of it up. Smooth it. Kind of flick some of that darker pigment. Smooth that edge. Kind of flick some of that color. Smooth the edge. When I say damp brush, I don't mean it's super wet. I will rinse it and then I will tap it on a paper towel or something because I don't want to introduce a lot of water. I just want to just lightly disturb the edge. Oops, that's not supposed to be. There's not the dark value there. So I'm going to do a little lifting. Smooth the edge. Yeah, I'm going to need to do another layer of the real dark. As you look at the photograph, it's very dark on the edge. We're going to let that dry first. I'm going to add another layer on the stem. Just on the right side, and then take a damp brush and just bring it on down. The center of the flower, which is Quin Gold. I'm just going to, you see there are different values in here of the gold. There's some darker around here. I'm going to, underneath all these little, I don't know what these little black things are. I'm just going to make some little dots to be like shadows. And then just kind of make some all around the center. And while it's still wet, I'm going to take a paper towel and just dab it, because I don't want it super. There we go. Ooh, it's coming together. Okay, I'm going to make sure this is completely dry before I do my second layer. Okay, it's dry. Now I'm using a little tinier brush because I don't want to do a very broad brush stroke here on where it's the darkest, just kind of around the edge. Take a damp brush. Oh, that's really pretty. I'm not going to do a damp brush anymore. I kind of want it to be pretty intense here on the edge. At least for that one, I'm not. That looks a little too bright right there. That's what paper towels were invented for. Oh gosh, that really looks pretty. Oh, that really looks pretty. Okay, so for whatever those dark brown things are, I have no idea what they are. My son just got a degree in horticulture, and he will never watch these videos, but if he did, he would be rolling his eyes. Like, I should know that. I'm using some burnt umber, and I'm going to grab a little bit of this Payne's Gray to make it a really dark, dark brown. And I'm just going to come in here and paint these little doodads. I'm going to use the same dark, dark color, which is burnt umber and some Payne's Gray, to paint my little bee. I do not know the anatomy of a bee too well. This isn't the best picture photograph either. Let's see if I can do the little antenna things. I'm going to use this very, very saturated pink here and try to make the lines. I'm going to add a little bit of this dark mixture here. The brown, that's good. To make the little veins or whatever it is in the wing. That's about as good as that wing's gonna get. I'm gonna use some damp water just to kind of smear some of that paint around. Oh wow, it's really coming together. Now for that center of the flower, it's too flat looking. So we are going to fix that. It needs to be a little darker under the bee. So I'm just using more concentrated, whatever this is, Quin Gold. Drop it under here. Take a damp brush and just kind of smear it around. And then on this side, the bottom side, I'm going to do the same thing. Take some Quin Gold, just put it on the bottom. Damp brush, let's kind of squish it around. I think I need more over here. I'm just dropping in some pretty concentrated Quin Gold over here. Damp brush, and I'm just going to swirl it all around. Kind of dab that center area, keep it a little bit lighter. I think the bee needs to be darker. The dark areas of the bee. So again, that's Burnt Umber and Payne's Gray. It's got some legs somewhere. We're just pretending those are legs. Now the bee, that color needs to be, the yellow color needs to be a lot brighter. I think I have just the color for it. This is Soul Shine. Yeah, that's it, by Da Vinci. It's a mix of several yellows, and it's gorgeous. Bright yellow. Oh yeah, that's it. I'm not happy with the wing yet. I don't have a brush that's tiny enough to make those lines. And even if I did, I wouldn't have the dexterity to be able to do it. So I'm just going to fiddle with it a little, make it a little more. Okay, I'm going to let this completely dry and then take one of my favorite tools, which is a flat chisel blender brush, and then pull up some highlights from the flower. That turned out really good. Okay, it's dry. So I've got this chisel blender, which is just a like a 1/4 inch flat brush. I think it's designed for acrylics, so it's kind of stiff, which is what you want. And so I'm going to look at my reference photo, and some places where it's really a lot lighter, I'm going to lift some out. So you need a dry paper towel, find a clean area because you don't want to deposit any color on there. Rinse your brush out, and I dab it because I don't want to introduce a whole lot of water to this. And then I'm just going to scrub back and forth and then dab it with a paper towel, and it will lift the paint really well. Oh yeah, that needed that. Rinse after each time, or you'll be depositing paint. I'm going to now do this for the stem, just kind of in the center here. Make it a little highlight. And I think I'm going to do a little bit in the flower center here. I'm just kind of depositing some water and scrubbing a little. And then dab it with a paper towel. Nope, don't like it. Add the paint back. I'm going to take a damp brush and okay, that's a lot better. Ooh, I like that. Okay, I think this is done. I'm going to let it completely dry and take a look at it. Okay, looking at the reference photo and then looking at my painting, the petals need to be pinker. So it's dry, so I've got a light wash of the permanent rose, and I'm just going to go over the entire petals, each one. You'll still see the values underneath. But it needs more pink. Oh yeah. I'm just gonna go over the wing. It is what it is. Oh yeah, that's much better, much better. Now I'm gonna take my little tiny brush and some concentrated paint here and go over some of the areas where I think needs that darker pink value. And if it's still wet, that's okay. It'll just kind of blend away. If it goes where you don't want it to go, just use a paper towel. Oh yeah, that's much better. It needed more pink. Almost finished with this one. Almost finished. This is an awful lot of detail, more than I normally do. I don't have very steady hands. But I do my best. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, I need to go up in here, add a little bit of shadow. And then a damp brush. Oh, I think it's done. Oh, it's really pretty. Okay, I'm gonna let it dry. No, I'm gonna call it done. It's done. Is it perfect? No. Well, hang on a second. I think for the bee, I need a couple of highlights. So I'm gonna take a small brush here, a little round brush, and just kind of swirl it around a little bit here on that brown, and then dab it. Yeah, there is a highlight. And do the same over here, just kind of swirl it a little, dab. Perfect. Good enough. Okay, I'm calling this done. Thank you so much for being a subscriber, and I look forward to seeing your flowers with the little bee on there. The background was so much fun to do. Thank you so much.